Hey, it's Crystal. Welcome back. So today we're going to focus on the cooking method of sautéing, all right? And we're going to do it with just a simple green bean, but also talking about par-cooking vegetables before sautéing. Let's think about what ingredients we need for this simple process today. We have green beans, olive oil, garlic, a little butter, and salt to finish, okay? So, now let's talk equipment. What are we gonna need? Well, we need our cutting board and a knife so that we can trim the green beans, as well as slice our butter and mince our garlic, okay? And then as far as once we move to the stove, we're gonna need a pot of boiling salted water going, as well as finding a sauté pan, all right? So, gather those items and let's begin. So with fresh produce, we're gonna begin by rinsing it in cold water. So just grab your strainer, colander, and let's rinse. All right, so once we have our rinsed green beans, I like to just grab a handful and just kind of bounce them downwards. Basically, I'm just trying to level the one side as best as I can. All right, and then fingers out of the way, just trimming off the tips. Okay, so same thing, just flip it over, fingers out of the way, and cut the ends off. All right. Okay, once you have the green beans all trimmed, hopefully you've just placed them in a bowl and set them aside and wiped off your cutting board and knife. Because now we're gonna move on to the garlic. So maybe you're familiar with garlic. It's sold in a head like this. So we really gotta use some muscle to get in here. You'll see the cloves, all right? So this is what they're referring to when they say 1 clove of garlic. This would be a head. These are individual cloves, okay? Now the best way to get into these cloves individually is to take the back of a knife, super carefully, okay? And, are you ready? Smash. Yes, get some aggression out, all right? And so then that's gonna peel away wonderfully. All right, so I'm just gonna check my cloves and look for these little ends here and just, you know, discard those. So mincing, if you're not familiar, is really just cutting and chopping into tiny, tiny bits. All right, so we're not really necessarily concerned with even cuts, even cooking, because we're really going little here. So what I like to do with garlic, grab a piece, do kind of just a little thin, little shaving action. Okay, now once I've done that, you can see I've decreased the size, all right, that's the goal. And then I might just flip it the other way, okay? And again, a little more motion here, that sawing motion. This is when it gets fun, in my opinion. This is when we do what we see all those fancy people do. All right, and it's just up and down, back and forth, up and down, back and forth. All right, and I'm just pinching here and just resting my hand, all right? And it is kind of that rocking motion. All right, real careful when you slide these off, down away from the blade, the finger, okay. All right, so maybe pause the video and let's get the rest of this garlic minced. So we've got here about 2.5 tablespoons of minced garlic. And so I'm thinking we'll kind of stick with that number, that round 2 tablespoons. So let's go ahead and cut off 2 tablespoons of butter. And then also we will use about 2 tablespoons of olive oil to saute the green beans. Okay, so our water is boiling, so we're going to very carefully add in the green beans. All right, so once we added the green beans, it lowered the temperature of the water so we don't have that boiling effect. So So we're gonna go ahead and boil these for about 5 minutes. That way we can give the water a little time to get back up to temp, but also get these beans just a little tender, okay? All right guys, so safety first, let's turn the flame off. Pot holders to grab the hot pot. Make sure there's nothing or no one in your way, okay? And you should have your strainer set up in the sink, all right? We're just gonna pour that carefully into there. All right, hot pot can go back on the stove. All right, so if you have ice, that's great. If not, just get these run under cold water fast. The idea, again, is to stop the cooking process. Okay, so I've got a paper towel to just kind of finish getting the last of the moisture off of these beans. All right, and checking the heat of a pan, you can kind of see the bottom if there's some changes. I like to kind of hover my hand. I want to feel the heat from right here. Okay, so I'm getting a good amount of heat. Once your pan is heated, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, okay? So the thing with sauteing is it's a high heat and a little bit of fat, and we move things about quickly, all right? It's also important not to overcrowd the pan, or then we are not sauteing anymore, we're steaming. All right. So just some quick movement, try not to lose anything. So if you have to do it in batches, do it in batches, depending on the size of your pan, because it's really important not to overcrowd. Now would be a good time to add in some of the garlic. I don't like to add my garlic too early because it can brown. So finishing with the 2 tablespoons of butter is totally optional. Thank you guys for joining me today. I really appreciate the time that you spent with me, and I hope that you found something useful here. All right, if you have any questions, as always, please do not hesitate to comment or send me a message, okay? Take care.